Welcome back, everybody, to our live charter debate. We asked for your questions, and in this segment, we'll use them. We started with Shannah last time, so Barbara, I'll begin with you. Now, the state estimates, as Shannah's pointed out, over 30,000 students in Massachusetts are on waiting lists to get into charter schools. So these are clearly parents who are dissatisfied, who believe their kids might be better off at those schools. Our viewer, Don Deshen, asks on Twitter, with obvious unhappiness with traditional schools by many, what are the specific plans to improve them? We keep hearing we should do more for the public schools, but specifically, what should happen in addition to just more money?
Well, I think the thing that we actually need to do, first of all, is we need to defeat question 2, because that will take more money away from public schools.
But
and
putting charter schools aside.
Let me finish. The reality is we lose $450 million a year already to charter schools. And we have to be clear about sort of the context in which we stand. What I would like to do is begin to have a conversation with our communities about how to fully fund community schools. What would a community school look like? Let's bring our communities together to say, what do you want your child's experience to be in a public school? What do the arts look like? We should be fully funding arts, sciences, field trips. We should have physical plans that work for every child. We should have that every child has the same thing that the children in our best schools have. And we're only going to be able to do that if we talk about a commitment to public education and a commitment to figuring out how we're going to do that.
And Shannah,
we can't do that when we're losing money.
I think this viewer asks the most important question, which is, you know, what's going to change? People have been sitting in underperforming schools for generations. Why would we think that anything would be done differently? Are there specific plans? No, there aren't specific plans. And funding, we know, is not the answer, because over $1 billion, billions of dollars have been spent on public education over the last many, many years, and nothing is changing. What is going to change? Charter schools. This is a viable, real, actual answer for urban communities. And it's critically important that people understand that this is about urban centers getting this real, tangible, proven solution.
This next viewer question is for you. Speaking of funding, the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education estimates that school districts are going to lose more than $450 million to charter schools in the next fiscal year. That's after taking reimbursements from the state into account. So viewer Laura Palladino asks us on Facebook, shouldn't we put the money into the public schools that all students are accepted into?
Let me just make sure people understand. Charter schools receive 4% of the public school students and receive 4% of the funding for public schools. So that $450 million looks like a big price tag. It's out of a $12 billion budget, rather. So we're talking about really minimal amounts of money. And the reality is, and this is what the districts are not telling you, if districts are struggling with funding, it is not because of the charter schools. It is because of fiscal mismanagement. And the Massachusetts Taxpayers Foundation will tell you this, the Boston Municipal Research Bureau, both independent fiscal watchdogs will tell you that charter schools are not taking money away from district schools. So I think people really need to understand that the funding argument that the other side is using is false. It's fundamentally false. What this is about is choice and people being unwilling to have the courage to give choice to urban families.
Barbara,
I'd be interested to have that argument made to the school districts that have cut librarians, that don't have paraprofessionals, that don't have the same extracurricular activities. These are real losses to school districts, and there's sort of a chilling aspect to pretending that the choice is only with those 30,000 students and not with the thousands of people who want to choose good public schools but aren't able to do that because of the funds that are being lost. Public education is something that we've committed to in the Commonwealth for the common good, to welcome all students. That's what we need to be committing to.
All right, Barbara, thank you. And when we come back, both our guests will give you their closing statements.
Tweet us using the hashtag Charter Debate. Join us live right now on Facebook Live to weigh in with your thoughts.